Sia Mirchandani, welcome to the ROHFIT Life Pod. So nice to have you here. How
Thank
are
you
you
so
doing?
much, Rohan. Thank you. I'm very good.
That's nice. So before we move forward, as I explained in the previous kind of podcast, what the ROHFIT Life Pod is. ROHFIT is actually an app that is launching soon, and the whole point of ROHFIT is continuous improvement. And where we come in is that we kind of go and take the expertise of wellness professionals in different wellness fields like physical, mental, social, spiritual, all such fields. And what we do is basically imbibe the knowledge that they have, the years of experience. Because nowadays the internet has become a breeding ground for information,
Of course.
and that information, there's no credibility on it, and that the credibility of it cannot be checked very viably. So our job is to go towards actual experienced professionals in all of those fields, which leads me to obviously your introduction. Please tell us, what is your field of expertise and what do you do?
So I am a person who's kind of done a lot of spiritual studies, and it started off just by reading books like Paramahansa Yogananda and Sri Sri Ravi Shankar and various other Osho and all sorts of philosophers and the gurus that we've had. It started because I had this very strong calling of, not really calling, but the search of knowing what I am, what my life is all about, and why am I living? What am I here for? And as a child, I was constantly, pondering over life and its reasons. And so, yeah, started on pretty early learning about life. And
That's nice.
because we were constantly in those secluded portions of India, traveling around and stuff, and gave me a lot of time to it myself. So it's been quite a beautiful journey learning about angel therapies, shamanism, so on and so forth. And then recently I did some few courses in psychology like RABT.
Oh, wow.
So I'm also an RABT practitioner and hypnotherapy practitioner as well.
Yeah, it's
So
cool.
yeah.
Actually, that brings me to the topic that I myself am kind of recently on a spiritual journey of my own, and I'm kind of finding out things about myself. And the single most important thing is building a relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
Because what nowadays people forget is that the outside noise that we claim as like our daily lives and our daily routine, we kind of miss the aspect of us spending time with ourselves and finding out the answers within.
Absolutely.
So I believe like one of our favorite lines every time we talk off camera is the universe is within yourself.
Absolutely.
And that kind of opened new doors for me because I finally like gave my chance to let go of like all the external and kind of focus on the internal.
Yeah.
And there's also maybe a way that I ended up doing this in the first place because I was like, I want to find more answers. So, before moving on to the topic, today's topic being chakra cleansing and everything about chakras and what they are, how it is relevant today. So, yeah, I think let's kick it off. So, starting off with what are chakras? Like, we all, like, it's a word that is thrown around very
Yeah.
often, but nobody actually goes and delves deep into what the chakras are. So, yeah, just a little introduction on that.
So chakras are basic vortex of energies. They are placed inside your body.
Mm-hmm.
And they're energy centers. They're basically constantly radiating and absorbing energy as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they are basically aligned all through your spine, from your tailbone up to your crown.
Mm-hmm.
And they're constantly working towards your physiological energy as well as your spiritual energy. When you're aligned completely, when your chakras are cleansed and activated, you radiate the right form of energy that you need to. You're always at the right place, doing the right thing, sort of a thing. So that's how chakras work. And if you feel that the energy around you is not in sync with you, is also somewhere the energies within you are not in sync.
Because it's like an interacting,
Constantly, constantly.
thing.
It's like you will always receive at the frequency that you're vibrating.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll always be surrounded by the things that constantly are within you. So, yeah.
So, before we kind of move on, our main focus today is to like be a very surface level, kind of informatory podcast about it, because delving deep into the techniques and the understanding of chakra cleansing is a vast topic,
Yes.
and it requires maybe sometimes even a physical one-on-one kind
Absolutely.
of understanding of it. So, for the audience, I just want to say that today's podcast will be very surface level. If you are interested in knowing more about chakras, I will definitely put her links below, and y'all can obviously check it out and get in touch with her. And apart from that, I also wanted to know that where in the body are the seven chakras placed, and which are they? Are they particular to our daily kind of behaviors? Are it like the relationships and the interactions that we have,
Yeah.
not only with living beings but with like inhumane objects also? There are a lot. Like I read a little bit about chakras. I don't really have much. So can you just give like the rundown of the basic chakras that we have in our bodies?
So the basic seven chakras that come from the Hinduism philosophy and the Buddhism philosophy are the basic seven chakras that are situated in your body, and they started from your tailbone. That's rooted near the last spinal bone of yours, which is called the root chakra,
Right.
which is your It's also called Mooladhara chakra. Then it's just go 4 inches above. That's under your navel. We have Swadhisthana chakra. That's your sacral chakra. And then right above your navel, right in the center of your being, we have your solar plexus, which is also called as Manipur chakra. Then in the center of your chest, you have your heart center, which is called the heart chakra, and it's called Anahat.
Right.
And then you have your throat chakra, which is called the Vishuddha. And then your third eye chakra, which is called the Ajna. And at the crown, at the top of your head, is called the Sahasrara chakra. It's a crown chakra. So every chakra has its own frequency. It's colored in the shades of rainbow, Vibgyor. So the red being the root chakra, orange being the sacral chakra. Then you have Manipur chakra, that's a solar plexus, which is the yellow. Then the green is your heart chakra. The light blue is your throat chakra. Third eye is an indigo, and this one is the violet. So the reason that you have different colors for these chakras is the frequency that they vibrate. There's no high. I mean, yeah, these are the more ascended chakras, and these are the lower chakras, but they work in tandem with each other. Now, what root chakra does is basically is the center of your survival. It's the fight and flight response of your body, right? It is also the chakra that helps you feel like you have enough. And the moment you feel like, oh, I don't have enough, I'm missing something from my life, I need this, I need that, that means your root chakra is totally out of balance. So having that sense of security, sense of feeling protected, and also the wisdom comes from the root chakra, because that's where your ancestors and all of those people pass their wisdom through you, right? So that's about your root chakra. Then comes your sacral chakra, which is the orangish in color, and it is the center of your sensual pleasures. So all about the sensory pleasures that you experience, whether it's and also the creativity, right? All the creativity that happens is coming through your sacral chakra. So also the chakras have an effect on your physiology in terms of diseases, right? If your root chakra is not in place, if it's not, then you constantly have this constipation. Your intestines are not functioning well, and can lead to different kind of diseases. The same way, if the sacral chakra, then your sex quotient is kind of in question. Then you constantly are blaming yourself for a lot of things, and those kind of things fall into the sacral chakra. Your kidneys are the ones that can get affected when your sacral chakra is not in place. And then comes your solar plexus. Solar plexus is the center of your will. It's your identity. It's your ego. It's how you identify yourself. Comes from your solar plexus. It's like your gut, right? The first thing that hits you when you are thinking about something, it's basically your gut. And if you're fearing something, what happens? Your stomach starts churning. So that's the kind of emotion and feeling that's related to the solar plexus, and you feel weak, right? So yeah, digestive issues will happen through the solar plexus if it's weak, but also you won't make decisions in your life. Every time you judge yourself or others, mainly judging yourself, your self-worth, your everything comes from the solar plexus. If you're judging yourself, you're basically depleting its energy. So you have to make sure that the self-worth, self-love, and self-acceptance are really in check when it comes to your solar plexus chakra. Then comes your heart chakra. It's all about love, right? When it comes to your heart, it's all about emotions, feelings, all the grief that you hold within, all the pain that you hold within. And it's not just the grief of the world, but of yourself. So when you are judging yourself, you're also kind of adding on to the grief which surrounds your heart, right?
Okay.
So it's not about also giving love all the time. It's also about being able to receive it. If you're judging yourself in a way where you don't find yourself worth, you're not going to be allowing people to give you the love as well.
Right.
So it is all the heart chakra that is responsible. Not really responsible, but this is how you work with the heart chakra energies. And the moment you judge yourself or not giving yourself the enough love, you're depleting its energy again.
Right.
Then comes your throat chakra, which is light blue in color. It is the center of your speech. It is what makes you speak the truth, but truth does not have to be curt or hurtful, right? It needs to come from a space of love.
And
Again, if there
comfort.
is, and comfort. And also, if, see, as I said, it's all connected. If you don't have the security, you won't indulge or you won't understand the pleasures of life. You're judging yourself, you're depleting your love, and then what will come out of from your throat is pain,
Right.
hurt. So that's how it's all connected. When you are speaking your truth, that will happen only when you've accepted your truth. That accepting of truth itself starts from the root chakra,
Right.
right? So, and that's how it starts working with your throat chakra.
Right.
And then once you are in awareness of your truth and accepting your truth, you move on to the ajna, that's your third eye chakra. You become more aware,
Right.
right? And if you are shutting your each and every chakra down, you stop becoming aware. You are not able to meet the reality. You are living in some delusional world. And also, a lot of times what happens is like somebody told me a mean thing, I would take it
Personally.
not just personally, या तो फिर ये इंसान खराब है या तो मैं खराब हूँ,
Right.
right? That's how you take it. But to actually have the power to understand that maybe this person is being hurtful, but there's a reason behind it. Let me find that reason. To become that aware, your third eye chakra comes into the picture.
Right.
Right? Once that is clear, when that's broadened and that's active, you will always understand the meaning behind the words or meaning behind the situations that are in front of you. So you start seeing beyond, right? And then comes your crown chakra, where all the wisdom is attuned to the higher self.
Right.
So once that is activated, once that is cleansed and activated, you're able to connect to your higher self much more easily, and all the wisdom comes into your body, all the security comes and everything comes. So cleansing and activation is the way to go about it.
So, as you were explained, there are many dimensions to the chakra system, and everything from like the root chakra all the way to the chakra in the head is like a journey in itself. And obviously, each of them kind of governs different dimensions of our lives. And we see it from like a very different view, like a smaller view, but the larger picture is that it is kind of in play every single time.
Yeah.
And it was kind of in play in every reaction, in every decision, in every interaction that we do. So, before we kind of move forward and delve deeper into this, I wanted to actually ask that if there was one way that we would be more aware about our chakras and be like, a lot of it comes obviously from mindfulness. A lot of it comes from the fact that knowing that you can very easily, you know, kind of manage these aspects of your life with the chakra system, which a lot of people may not be knowing. So if we are to just, you know, kind of on a very basic level, if we would just want to cleanse our chakras or we want to like understand how to clean our chakras, where do we start? Like, where's the starting point in terms of information? Should we read more up about how they affect us in our daily lives? Do we kind of, you know, talk to somebody in terms of a professional? How do we tackle it? Like any new person who is entering the world of chakras.
I think the one thing that I always suggest people, and that will kind of resonate with every person who's into healing, would be just take saltwater baths.
Salt water baths.
Yeah, they really cleanse your energies, and even just keeping a salt water by your bedside can help you kind of take away a lot of negativity that surrounds our system all the time, right? Your aura basically gets cleansed. But that's just the cleansing part. When it comes to chakras, of course, you need to kind of learn to visualize them, learn to understand and become aware of them,
Right.
and then you start working with them.
Right.
So it's just bringing awareness. Once you start reading about them, obviously you become more aware, like, where your energies are going off. Most of the people that come to me are always feeling a lack of something, like whether it's lack of money, whether it's lack of love. So there's this constant feeling of lack that's there, right? And lack of willpower, lack of understanding. So if I'm just talking the words, you will understand and relate to every chakra. When it comes to lack of money, it's going to be a root. When it comes to lack of pleasure, or constantly judging yourself or indulging, it's your sacral.
Right.
When I talk about lack of willpower, it's your solar plexus. Lack of love around you, it's your heart chakra. So every lack is explaining that there's something off with the chakra system. And it's just about when you start working with the chakras, you start understanding and becoming aware of yourself. And that's what your starting point is. Cleansing, there are a lot of techniques to cleanse your chakras. One being salt water, other. So what I start with is grounding practices, right? Grounding practices as good as just walking on the grass. Then there's a visualized technique that you have for grounding. It's visualizing some roots coming out of your feet and going into the ground, and going into the Mother Earth and receiving the energy from it and all of it. So that's grounding, and that's something that's a regular practice that you need to have.
Right.
It doesn't take more than 5 to 7 minutes. Let me tell you that. Just grounding yourself, attuning yourself, and invoking the right energies and moving on with your day. Just 7 minutes of morning can actually set you straight.
Right.
And then when you are coming back at home at night, just before sleeping, give yourself the 10 minutes. Just go back to all your chakras, see how they're feeling, just go through the energies, release all the energies that you can with a saltwater bath, or just keeping a saltwater bowl by yourself and just visualizing that, everything's being released. And post that, go to sleep and you'll see the difference.
Right. You wake up like a fresher person.
Yes.
So, like, if we are to just kind of summarize it down and kind of consolidate everything, in terms of our daily lives, and especially this is in particular to the 21st century, because nowadays a lot of external data is very easily available. Like, we obviously have our social media sites, we have everything in terms of easily obtained negative energies, and a lot of them are really uncontrollable because we're not realizing, and we are taking in this data and we're taking in these negative energies, and we're not realizing that it is somewhere physiologically, mentally, or even spiritually affecting us. So if we were to break down on a point that, okay, we're on the go and in our daily lives, because the 21st century is so fast and the generation wants everything quick, I don't think, as far as what I've learned with meditation, it's all about slowing down.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all about just kind of taking a breath, stepping back, and figuring out, seeing where the flow is taking you. I think this quote from Bruce Lee really kind of inspires me. Is like, be like water, and like be formless, be shapeless. And the whole thing, why I connect that to this, is because I think everybody will find their way to learning more about themselves, and because chakra cleansing is a big aspect of everybody's physiological being, whether they know it or they don't know it, because that's how we are built. And it's just tapping into that, I believe. So I think my question kind of revolves around that in the 21st century, do you feel like there is a high requirement for something like a practice of chakra cleansing? Is it because obviously there are a lot of changes on a very fast pace? Now there's talk about AI, there's talk about changing relationships. There is so many things that are changing in quote unquote society that really puts a question on the fact that, okay, we need to stop and kind of look within and kind of internalize, everything that is happening outside. So obviously, does something like chakra cleansing is like of high importance today? Like, what is your take on it?
Of course, it's very, very important. For the simple reason being, now that you're talking about the way the world is moving, we are all talking about frequencies. We are all talking about energies. We all get into a room and we talk about, oh my God, I don't like the vibe. I don't like the vibe. What is the vibe? Where does the vibe come from?
Right.
What is the energy we're talking about? It's all your chakras. It's not just your chakras. It's everybody's, and it's like once a person is coming back to themselves, they're also helping others to kind of start working on their energy system.
Right.
But without working on your energy system, when you're constantly interacting, there's this whole gamut of emotions and energies that's coming together, and that's creating so much of friction. We know that people are going through a lot of depression right now. There's so many people around us who are talking about depression, anxiety. So what is this?
Right.
What is anxiety all about? What is the depression all about? And I'm not really saying that there's anything wrong with it, but it's basically a call from your soul. It's basically something within you is calling you so badly that sit. Let's connect. Just be here. What are you running behind? What do you want out of your life? What is it that you're looking at? What is it that you're running towards? Because there's nothing outside eventually. Today you'll be going to a party, you'll come back and think of the next party the next day. But what is it exactly filling within you? What is this vacuum that we are constantly trying to fulfill all the time with the social media, with the social surroundings that we are constantly engaging with the TV, with the Netflix, with the Amazon? What are we exactly trying to do? We become compulsive shoppers, we become compulsive serial watchers, and we become compulsive social media people. Totally. So what is it exactly telling us about ourselves? Why do we need so much? Why can't we sit? What is it that stops us from sitting with ourselves? What is going on within you? What are you anxious about?
I think there was this one study, I think one of the Harvard professionals did, is that took two people, and one of them was a very, very avid social media interactor and kind of on bordering on an addict, and one was a person who kind of meditated often. And all they did was put both of them in one empty white room. And it kind of put everything in perspective, because the person who was a social media addict started moving a lot, started showing signs of low attention span, kind of wanted that sense of attention, because I think a lot of it also runs around a quick dopamine rush. And the only thing that social media is kind of bringing up in you more is, I want to change my attention in the slowest possible time that I possibly can. Whereas the person who used to meditate quite a bit, who used to be more in touch with himself, was sitting quietly in one corner, in one space, and kind of just connecting with himself. And that kind of put into perspective for me why a soul is much more important in terms of interacting in our daily lives and our daily routine. Because now, on our physical selves, I think one of my favorite things to tell myself is, I am not XYZ person, I am the driver of the soul of XYZ person. And that kind of helps you see stuff from a third person perspective, that kind of puts things into, a much easier to understand manner. Because let's be fair, like we call life is full of situations, challenges, this, that, everything. And again, connecting it back to chakras, it is like a manual. Like I would, like in my understanding of chakras, would be like a manual which is there internally built into your body. We just need to know how to tap it.
So, like you said, Rohan, just now, that disconnecting with yourself. What is exactly the disconnecting with? With your ego, with your identification. Right? And when you're constantly identifying yourself with the likes that you get on social media, with where you're going and who you're connecting with, because that's also the other part, right? Like, I want to be with this kind of a set of people and stuff, and I want to party, and or maybe seen with these kind of people, or seen at certain spaces or places and stuff. So we are constantly creating an identification of ourselves. And this identification is exactly what? Is it real? It's physical. It's material. It's not your spirit. Your spirit doesn't have an identity. The moment you break that down for yourself itself, you know that all of this is it's just going to create those anxieties. It's just going to create an add-on to that that attachment, or to just keep you here, to keep you, attached and being lost in this world, so that you don't identify yourself as that spirit, as that free spirit who does not really need all of these things. And another thing that that when I talk about dopamine, when we talk about hormones, we do need them, right? Your body needs it. But the moment you start meditating, the moment you start actually balancing activating your chakras in the way it's supposed to be done, they automatically come in tandem.
Yeah.
They automatically start. I've had thyroid issues after my daughter was born. And I was on medication for about 6-7 months, and I'm not a person who can take medications. I will forget. So I was like, no, I need to sort this out. I need to get off these medication. And I stopped. And I started meditating towards my throat chakra more, towards my thyroid issues more. And I've got off the medication. My thyroid has been normal ever since. Right? So it's about that. It's about just connecting with yourself and understanding where is the lack and what is that we're lacking. Whether it's which hormone of yours is lesser that you need to work on and bring up. So with dopamine, it's not just social media, even your workouts.
Oh, right. So, like the thing about the skepticism of it, particularly, is coming from because there are so many different schools of thought. You know, a lot of people who do closely believe in your spirit self and the chakra system as a whole would be the ones that would stand by it. But like again, as a while back, we had a conversation about collective consciousness, and to put into easy words, collective consciousness kind of being that somehow us, like everybody in the world, being connected to coexist in this one energy space. And there was a thing about herd mentality that was thrown about quite a bit, because today, if we actually tried to explain a certain method, like you spoke about medication, right? The 90% of the world stands by prescriptive medication and they understand that language really well, apart from the people who've had that experience. So again, with the thing with ROHFIT I wanted to do is that kind of spark that experience, because there are some, I would like to use the word magical or miraculous experiences that I've had. They've kind of come from nowhere, and they've kind of led me there instead of it coming to like me. So again, we kind of took a detour with that, coming back to chakras and the chakra system itself. Is there a way for us to find, you know, kind of resources about learning if we just had to learn ourselves about chakras, and especially in relevance to the current day and age in the 21st century? Do you have any resource, any particular book maybe?
There are plenty of stuff out there. There's
Like-
plenty of stuff. There's one author called and I'll kind of maybe we could just put
I'll
that
link it
later.
down below.
Yeah,
That's not an
we
issue.
can down maybe. I'll kind of find the right resources and put that down. Yeah, but there are plenty of resources available that you could help you with learning about chakras. It's also there on the Wikipedia.
Right.
So if you want a brief introduction, you can get it anywhere. So yeah.
Yeah.
But learning about the techniques is the part that you need to understand how to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what is the key of working with the chakras. But yeah, coming into awareness, the moment you read, you will start feeling those energies and stuff. It's supposed just attuning to that right frequency, right? When you're putting onto the radio, you just attune to that frequency and you get the right signal. So the moment you start attuning yourself to the right resources, you start attuning your energies to them.
Right. It was a thing actually that we had spoken about, our favorite topic being law of assumption, and law of assumption being all about getting in touch with the frequency of the thing that you desire. And a lot of it kind of opened up my head about, you know, understanding that there are more benefits than actually, there are only benefits actually. If you do a certain, you know, I like to call it sadhana, or you do a certain practice really well, chakra cleansing being one of them, there are unbelievable benefits.
Yeah.
So if we had to kind of boil down the benefits of chakra cleansing themselves, like just maybe in a short format, like what would we, like how would we?
Our alignment of your soul purpose. That's like the biggest and the most craziest reason to do it. To actually start becoming aware of your soul's purpose, aligning yourself to the higher self.
Right.
So this is your physical self, right? And there's this one energy that's above you, that's outside of you, that's your higher self, that's constantly guiding you, that's connected with the divine, that's helping you understand what direction your life needs to move in, and whether you make the right choices in your life or not. That particular higher self of yours you need to be connected with,
Right.
so that you understand the decisions you make and the repercussions. And also, if there are repercussions, you happily go through them because it was a choice that was supposed to be made chosen by your soul.
Right.
So coming to terms with all of that, it starts from chakras.
Mm-hmm. That's quite like in depth in terms of uh, obviously the benefits being something that is very personal to everybody, and I think those benefits they would see in their lives, and the only way to kind of understand that is everybody having their personal experience. So if we are to, I think we spoke about the chakra cleansing techniques also, and because that is such a vast topic, I think you told me that there are some base level things that people can do in terms of reaching that stage where they can cleanse their chakra centers. Could you like explain some of those techniques? Like I think you spoke about grounding, you spoke about attunement. Yeah, where would you start with that?
So basically starting connecting with nature, connecting with self. Have this frequent check-ins, take some deep breaths every now and then. So whenever you are kind of getting a little fuzzy in your head, just sit down, breathe in, breathe out, check in with yourself. What exactly is happening? What exactly is that emotion that's creating that sort of an anxiety in you? There are a lot of times that somebody's passed a comment and you have shunned that comment. It's not like you want it to affect you, and know that that's coming from a person from their own grief or from their own pain, and you shun it. But it somehow got attached to you.
Right.
And you don't realize it. But the moment you sit down and you kind of go through the day, you know, okay, this person has made this comment. Now, why has that comment got stuck to you?
Right.
Were you actually feeling that within yourself? Or that person projecting something of their own with you? So that check-in is very important so that you can let go and release it at that point of time. Otherwise, that can create a certain sort of a trauma which kind of creates triggers and behaviors and patterns and shadows.
Kind of set and get engraved in your
Yeah.
thought.
Like as a kid, we've all gone through like body shaming.
Yeah.
We've all gone through things like where we've felt like an outcast, where we've not felt accepted or whatever. So how did that happen? It was just that one comment from an auntie. It was that one comment from, not that they were not right intended people or they obviously cared for you and stuff, but it was just a very sly comment.
Thrown off comment.
Yeah. But that got attached to you. It created a body image issue. And today, everywhere you go, you're constantly conscious of yourself.
Right.
How am I looking? I'm looking fat, I'm looking thin, I'm looking this, I'm looking that. So just that one comment can create such a ripple effect on your entire livelihood, an entire life cycle. So regular check-ins, like every day before sleeping, just sit down, go through the day. If there's been anything that was hurtful spoken to you or you've spoken, forgive yourself, forgive the person, let that go. Don't let it get it ingrained in your system in any way.
Right.
And and as I said, saltwater bath is a very important tool that we all can use. Connecting with nature, walking in the rain is a beautiful cleansing.
Perfect time of year.
Yeah, perfect time of the year. So cleansing yourself with natural things, waterfalls, walking on the beach, taking a sea bath. These are beautiful natural cleansing tools. Like as kids, why were we so attracted to water?
Right.
It's a self-cleansing ritual that we all immersed into.
Right. Like we wouldn't actually look in those terms. We wouldn't look at that perspective, but in essence, we are attracted to
plays,
those
right?
things.
Imaginary plays. We've played with trees. We played with stones. We played with everything that was nature.
So I think the takeaway here is actually connecting to the nature and connecting to stepping out of what we call as our daily routines and just connecting in that. Like,
This should be your daily routine, actually.
Actually, yeah.
This should be a daily routine.
True.
Like
Very
when you're going
true.
for a walk, just go barefoot for a bit. Just 5 minutes, take a barefoot walk.
Yeah. There was a thing like a lot about like mud baths and walking without your shoes, and obviously saltwater baths being one of them. And all of them are, I realized, very relaxing and would really, because majority of what people know as meditation is relaxing techniques so that you can think clearer, so that you can,
So relaxing for me is also a cleansing process, right? When do you feel relaxed? When you have basically released all the things that have got onto you.
right.
So when you talk about words, when you talk about situations, they get attached to you like in your body, in your, whenever it's basically burden, it's your shoulders that's carrying the burden. When it's a hurtful comment about your body image, it's going to be your gut that's going to get affected,
Right.
all sorts of things. When it's constant lack of somebody taking your money or going away, it's going to be your root chakra. So your body is getting attacked by these things all the time.
Right.
So when you're going for a saltwater bath, what's relaxing is basically it's getting cleansed. It's getting released out of your body. Your body is letting go of these things that are getting attached to your aura.
Right.
And that's how it starts helping you think clearer because they're being washed away.
Right.
And when you actually start visualizing these things happening, they actually start making that much more presence in you.
So I think it's all about consistency and practice.
So there's this particular saying that I always believed in, that the subconscious mind does not know what is real.
Oh.
Everything you imagine is as real as the physical reality. So the why
So
do we
like
work with
human
visualizations
frequency,
is like basically your subconscious mind is reading the visualization as well. So it's actually reworking itself. Your subconscious mind will record all of these incidents, right? The words that have been spoken, the situations that have made you feel a certain way. It's all recorded in your subconscious mind.
Right.
The moment you visualize it, so you're basically rewriting the whole thing down. So that's how it starts working.
Right. I believe you spoke about chakra cleansing also, in like helping you understand your traumas and helping you understand that. Is there a way that chakra cleansing helps clear out and kind of wash off those
So it's
past life traumas?
past life traumas, yes. So not really past life traumas would need past life regression.
Yeah.
But like when you go back to your heart chakra, when you're constantly working with certain chakras. So there's intensive chakra work also that you do with every particular chakras, right? Say we know that there's a certain imbalance in your root chakra. There's constant feeling of lack that you have in terms of money, and you don't feel you have enough, or you are scared that you would lose what you have. So we work with your root chakra. When you work with your root chakra, when you do the meditations and visualizations, you also a lot of things that surface that okay, maybe this comment or maybe this particular situation that led me to feel like I'm not enough. The same way when you're working with your heart chakra, all the pain and the grief that you carry, there are a lot of incidents of your childhood or even now that might have happened that might have left an impact, but in your head you've resolved them,
Right.
but internally they've left a mark on your subconscious. Now what does subconscious do? It's there in your subconscious, right? If somebody said something, it's left a mark on your subconscious. You've let go in your head, but the subconscious still has a record of it. So next time anything that is happening towards that particular zone, you get triggered.
Right.
So you react. The moment you are able to connect with your heart, the moment you're able to work out with those and let those things surface and clear them off, those triggers will not happen. Instead of reacting, you will respond to the situation. You will be more aware that, okay, fine, this is something that creates a trigger in me. Let me wait. Let me see why is this person saying something like this and where is it coming from. And then maybe you'll be able to release that person and the situation and release yourself from that particular thing easily.
It also comes with a lot of clarity
Yeah,
and
yeah.
confidence. Yeah. So moving on to the next point, I just wanted to know how chakra cleansing kind of aligns you to your higher self and kind of helps you, as you said, that every soul has a purpose. And how does chakra cleansing play a role in kind of helping you find that clarity and helping you find that direction? So how would you kind of put it in simple words for us to understand?
So when you are at the right energy level and when you have cleansed and activated your chakras and you're able to work with your crown chakra, which is basically the seat of your, not really soul, but yeah, it's a window to your higher self. The moment you connect with your higher self, you are becoming so much more aware of the patterns, of the shadows, of all that you carry within yourself. Even so many triggers and traumas that might have been carried down from the past lives, from your ancestors. And that's basically a space where you are in direct touch with the divine self, so, if you want to call that, which basically gives a blueprint of your soul's journey.
Right.
So it helps you kind of stay true to your path, keeps nudging you towards taking the right direction, making the right call. And even if you are in a bit of a stressful situation, it'll help you to understand why the situation is surrounding you and what you need to do at that point of time to help yourself feel better.
Right.
So, constantly having that bank of knowledge is situated in your higher self. And once you are aligned and completely cleared up with your chakras and have that fully activated chakras, you are able to easily access that particular blueprint.
Right. So, like, obviously, because we're at the butt end of the podcast, uh, I wanted to kind of get into how one like starts off understanding, the chakra that is important to them. And the thing is, a lot of people don't kind of get into this majority of the times because they are like, okay, there's only this aspect of my life that needs to be taken care of, or there's only this part of life. They only focus on, okay, once at least the mindsets of the people nowadays are that I will only find help for that what is needed. So, as you spoke about, there are certain things going wrong in a particular person's life. They will only focus on that aspect. So is there a way for us to specifically focus on one chakra, or the whole process of chakra cleansing happens that all the chakras need to be taken into consideration and all need to be taken into
Yes,
consideration?
yes. Whether it's your heart, whether it's your third eye, whether it's your ability to be able to see the truth behind the situations, whether it's your ability to have that willpower to make the right decision, unless your root chakra is in place, none of the other chakras are going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So the bare necessity is, it's not like only if your root chakra is in place, everything else is going to be in place. Every chakra's vibration needs to be cleared. Every chakra's energy needs to be in the right space and needs to feel right. It needs to be correctly cleansed and activated. If you're carrying any particle or any energy that has a negative effect on your chakra, that is basically feeling lack of anything in your life, it's going to basically resonate in your entire chakra system.
Right.
So whether it's lack of love is not about just being loved, or it's also about giving the right amount of love, and that
Right.
will also happen only when you love yourself. And when will you love yourself? When you know that you have enough, when you feel that sense of security within yourself of being yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also interconnected that you cannot take कि मुझे सिर्फ इसी feeling पे और I just want to focus on this particular feeling, because there's not just one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I can't detach my finger from my body. It's a part of my body.
Mm-hmm.
Even for a matter of strand of hair, you know it's going to regrow, but it's still, the moment somebody pulls it, you feel the pain. Your entire body feels it.
Right.
So how can you just work only one aspect of your life and not forget the rest of the things? That's not how it works.
Right. And that, I think, it delves deeper into getting in touch with your, I would say, spiritual self. And I would also say that a lot of practices in terms of self love are thrown around nowadays, and everybody has their own kind of school of thought of what works and what doesn't. So, is it that thing that a person needs to create like a foundation in terms of, you know, getting in touch with that like inner self and inner person, maybe focusing a little bit on meditation, or any person who's very driven by the external world cannot step into chakra cleansing before they build that foundation, or before they do that? Or is it like there needs to be some sort of initiation, or there needs to be some sort of kind of grounding or base to be built before the person can step into cleansing their chakras, or any other person who's kind of looking for a way to better their daily physiological state can come and be like, okay, you know what? I understand that chakras are governing majority of my interactions in my daily life, and this is what I want to do to better it. So, where does it stand? Like, can any person come and kind of cleanse their chakras?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Once you have the right technique to do it, you can, and in fact, it's not like a very big job where you have to sit down for an hour to cleanse your chakras. Right? It's just like a 10-minute thing, 10-minute visualization. Once you learn it. So the
Right.
visualization will start happening once you actually are guided towards visualizing it. Right?
Right.
That itself takes about quite
Quite a
some
bit of
time. Sorry to say, but takes a lot of time to be able to visualize yourself clearly
Right.
with all the chakras, seeing all the colors, seeing all the emotions and all the things that surround the chakra. But the moment is to start it. The point is you need to start.
Right.
And it will only happen when you're able to sit with yourself.
Right.
I mean, if you think that you're going to be, moving on in a car, putting on the guided meditation audio and think that your chakras are cleansed, it's not going to work like that. If you're not able to sit with yourself, then I think you can't do any internal work.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all about going within.
Right.
And that is what is reflected on the outside. So if you think you're disturbed outside and so you can't go within, sorry, it's because you're disturbed within that you're finding there's disturbance outside.
Mm-hmm.
So it all starts from you.
From within. Right. So before we kind of close off the podcast, I actually wanted like a small summary, a kind of breakdown, a little detailed breakdown of every chakra, from the root chakra to the third eye chakra, and sorry, the crown
Crown.
chakra. And yeah, how would you kind of, in short detail, how each chakra plays a vital role in our lives?
Sure. So let me start with the root chakra.
Mm-hmm.
The root chakra is your Mooladhara chakra. It's red in color. It's what basically taps into your wisdom of your ancestors. It is your place from where you feel the sense of security, the sense of stability, and feeling grounded.
Mm-hmm.
Finding a sense of purpose of being here. Connecting with your deeper self starts from here. Knowing the reason of being in places where you are at that point of time also starts from there. So when your root chakra is active, you will actually walk in with a sense of purpose everywhere that you're going.
Mm-hmm.
And the fight and flight response also belongs to the root chakra,
Mm-hmm.
right? Every situation sends you into all of these situations, right? And you're able to respond to situations better and not run into these reactions once your root chakra is balanced.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the root chakra would be all about that.
Right.
Then so root chakra is the base
Mm-hmm.
which needs to be worked on before working on with any chakra. Okay, unless that is in place, everything else, it's like your root.
Right.
Unless you have the roots, you can't really walk with the tree, right? So that's your root of your being.
Mhm.
Then comes your sacral chakra, which is what leads to needs, your sensory needs, your indulgences, your pleasures, also your creativity, your imagination. It's all belonging. It's all comes from your sacral chakra. Once that is activated and it's working well, you are your creative best. You don't feel guilty of indulging in sensual pleasures or any sort of pleasures.
Mm-hmm.
And you take responsibility of whatever you're doing in your life. And the whole sense of guilt between, when it comes to your sensory pleasures and all of those kind of things also kind of leave you feeling drained out in relationships, drained out in physiological level wherein you have issues with your kidneys and those kind of things. So once that is in balance, it really checks in a lot of boxes, right? And people who are into like creativity also work a lot with sacral chakra. So having that in balance would really help your creativity boost. Then comes the solar plexus. It's your center of your willpower, center of your being. It makes you take the decisions that you are taking. The person who is very indecisive, who is very judgmental, not just towards others but also towards themselves, shows off that their solar plexus is not in the right place. So, when you are meeting someone, there's a certain energy that radiate, right? There's a certain energy that they're surrounded with. There are people who you meet and you feel like, wow, that's a powerful person. That's where the solar plexus comes in the picture. And the people who constantly like slouching and sitting and feeling very nervous and all of that shows their sense of self acceptance, self love. It's all comes under your solar plexus. And that's the place from where your higher chakras also begin. So when I say higher chakras, does not mean the lower chakras are not important or it's something that belongs to the lower category. No, it is what strengthens the entire. Only when those are in place will your higher chakras start working or start aligning themselves. So once you have your sense of self, sense of security, sense of knowing yourself and your identification, you move on to loving yourself. And that's where your heart chakra belongs. Once you're able to love yourself, you're able to give the right kind of love. You're able to understand people better. You're able to. So the affirmation that we say when we work with our heart chakra is, I am loving, I am loved, I love, I am love.
Right.
Right? And becoming that embodiment of love, that's what you radiate. And you'll be able to see those people, right? The ones that radiate with love energy. And the ones that are filled with pain, grief, and they don't have love for themselves, and so they can't share love with others.
Right.
And also, the capacity of receiving love also belongs there, right? All of us want to give a lot of love to actually be known as the giver, but you also need to receive love. So there's a story that I read some time back, a long time back, that there was this person who was an ever giving person,
Right.
always loving people, always sacrificing her own needs to fulfill other people's dreams and aspirations and all of it. And she fell sick. She fell sick to a point where, for to the next 3 years till she died, she was being fed and she was being taken care of. And she hated that. She hated receiving it.
Right.
And she, when she passed on, she was in that particular phase where she was questioning that why did this happen to me when I've always given so much. It's like, yeah, you gave, but when did you receive?
Receives. Right.
You are supposed to receive. That's called the balancing of,
The give and take of,
You can't not receive. And you will only receive when you know that you're worth receiving. And being worthy starts from your, again,
internal self.
Yeah, from the lowest self. So, and it's that important to be able to receive. And once you are in that secured zone, when you know that you love yourself, when you are loved, you're able to speak your truth and accept your truth that very well. And that's what your throat chakra does. The light blue color, and so there are a lot of elements also attached to the chakras, right? Like when it comes to the solar plexus, it actually resonates a lot with the sun. Throat chakra and your third eye would mostly resonate with a lot of water and moon, those kind of energies. And
elements.
Yeah. So, and I said water is very cleansing. It's fluid. It's constantly filling up yourself. So that's how throat chakra also works. It's supposed to be fluid. Your speech is supposed to be fluid. It can't be obstructed by constantly thinking मैं सही बोल रहा हूँ कि नहीं बोल रहा हूँ.
Right.
But that will also happen more so when you have this clear thought process of yourself, when you are accepting yourself the way you are.
Right.
So when I say accepting yourself means not just your good self, right? There is always a bad self to you.
All dimensions of you.
Yeah, there's always there's yin and yang. You come with all the darkness and the light.
Right.
So actually accepting yourself to the darkness of yours.
That's
Once you're able
something new I learned right now.
Once you accept your dark self, you're able to accept others' dark self very easily.
Right.
आज अगर मुझे पता है कि मेरे में ये कमी है, I am also a very, say, furious person, or I get angry at the drop of the hat, and I know where my anger stems from, I'm able to accept others getting angry as well. But the moment I don't accept my anger, and I judge myself towards my anger, I'm going to judge everybody in the world for their anger. So see how it's reflecting and projecting constantly, right? Like, why am I getting upset at people getting angry? Because even I don't like myself getting angry.
Right.
Right?
I am the change I want to see in the
Yeah,
world
so
of
those
people.
things also come from the inner world. It's constantly reflecting you what's going on within you. When you're judging yourself towards any kind of behavior, you will judge the world.
Right.
You're depleting your energy. And that is further depleting your all the chakras energies. So that's how you kind of constantly become aware of each and every emotion, each and every feeling that you are creating towards people, towards yourself. And that's how it's affecting your chakras. And your chakras will always affect your physical self.
Right.
So when I say accepting truth, it's also accepting your darkness and every part of you that you don't like in others.
Correct.
Right? And once you have accepted, once you are in that alignment of knowing your truth and accepting it, this starts opening up by itself. Because then you're able to see beyond people's anger. You're able to see beyond people's darkness. Because there's light in everyone.
Correct.
And once that opens up, you're able to align yourself to your higher self very easily. Because you start sensing that oneness with everyone. You see yourself in everybody. You see their bits in you. And then you sense that connectivity.
A sense of neutrality that kind of sets in.
Yeah. And that's how you start connecting with your higher self. And they help you, they guide you in your journey.
I think before we move on to the last chakra, I want to kind of bring up a personal anecdote of mine. I think when you spoke about the third eye chakra and understanding to look beyond a certain person's being,
Yeah.
or the world in itself, the workings of the world. So I am a very big believer in Shiva, and I personally believe there's a lot of talk about understanding what Shiva is. So I think breaking down as the definition that I know is Shiva is that which is not. And the whole point about when you explain the third eye chakra, what I really connected and related to is it is literally accepting the workings of the world, and then only you can open the doors of looking beyond it.
Yeah.
Because there are dimensions that are completely out of our understanding in our daily lives. I think what we mainly connect on is things happening, and sometimes you can't make sense of it. And the biggest realization that we usually don't focus on is the fact that how do we know what we know? Or uh, how do we know the workings of the world, and how did we get to our conclusions, and how we hear, and all of those existential questions that we kind of, there is a method to the madness, and there is like an explanation, but you really need to understand there is a door in front of it, and to look beyond it you kind of have to get acceptance of everything in that space, and then only can you unlock the door.
It's as simple as getting a diagnosis.
Right.
When you know that you have this particular disease, meeting it and working towards it becomes much more easier.
Right.
When you don't have a diagnosis, you're basically hitting in the blind. And that's what's happening with most of the people. So once you are aware that really this part of my body has some issue, then my entire focus, my awareness comes to this body and I start healing it.
Right.
But if I don't even know that, what am I going to do? I'm going to try every sort of thing to figure out what's happening with me.
Right.
Why is this thing in my face? Why is this pain? Where is it coming from? I'm so lost. And that's what's happening with most of us. We're always lost. And we're trying to kind of get those fix-ups. So like, आज ये कर लिया, आज dance कर लिया, आज आज shopping कर लिया, आज massage ले लिया.
Compulsions.
All of those things. And I don't look down upon them, but I just feel again, it shouldn't be an escape.
Right.
To even enjoy those pleasures and immersing in them as a ritual and as a self-love activity, it shouldn't be like a pleasure, like okay fine, I had this moment of pleasure and I'm back to the grind, back to feeling shitty about myself.
Right.
And that's what most of us do. Instant gratification is just that.
It's a very limited way of looking at everything.
Yeah. So whether I'm buying like a 500 rupee bag, or whether I'm buying a 5,000 or 5 lakh rupee bag, eventually it's a bag. It's the value that we give to it that makes it that big for us.
It's because and I realize this with our everyday happenings also, is that sometimes we get too happy and sometimes we get too sad, and then that kind of up and down really puts us off balance. So a lot of things that I realized that everything, the universe works in a balance, and obviously this is something I'm speaking from my personal experience, is that the only way you can keep moving forward is when you realize that ebb and flow cannot be too extreme, or cannot be too, okay, if you're feeling the moment of pleasure, you can't also understand that, okay, now that instant gratification has happened, so now I will kind of leave that and I won't come back to the state where everything else makes me generally happy. Or if I am feeling sad, understanding why I'm feeling sad and then working towards it. A lot of people usually what they do is get stuck quite there in the middle, and that's what causes and kind of manifests in certain physiological states, in certain mental blocks. As you explained, affects creativity, sometimes affects speaking your truth. So I think the web and the conversation is very vast, and we can go on about this for hours. But I believe you also, I think, missed last chakra, which I believe is the crown chakra.
No, like when we're continuing about the chakras, when we have aligned our third eye chakra, which also opens doorways to understanding situations beyond their just physical projection, you're able to see beyond what's being shown to you.
Right.
Automatically, the doors open for your crown chakra, where you are given that knowledge to see beyond it.
Right.
And that's how you start connecting with your higher self, which is constantly guiding and nudging you, look at this door, look at the other side, look at the other way.
Right.
And that's when you start connecting with your higher self, who's so in that knowing, in that understanding, in that compassionate mode. So, and you start being compassionate with yourself as well, right?
Right.
It's not just about showing compassion to the world. It's how compassionate are you to yourself?
Correct.
How forgiving are you towards yourself? So I was just watching the series yesterday. It's called Manifest. I don't know if you've
Yeah, actually,
And in the last episode, they mentioned that it's not about the
there's
right.
gonna be spoilers.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's not about the right and the wrong. It's not about the good and the bad deeds. The balance is not about that. It's about forgiveness.
Right.
It's about how light you are.
Right.
So, and again, that's what chakras do, right? They just
This is the
lighten
thing
your-
that kind of blows my mind of how everything is kind of going to find a way to yourself, to you.
Yes.
Because the show itself, Manifest, was told to me by like a certain person in my life to watch it to really understand, because I'm on this journey of kind of finding myself. And the way it kind of connected in the end is like an eye opener. So when you kind of brought it up and you kind of explained that, the rights and the wrongs kind of,
You
then
should see the last.
yeah, I
last
actually am still on the
season.
first season.
Yeah, no, you have to see, and it conveys so beautifully, and it was really nice.
It was brilliant. So, any closing thoughts? Anything that you would like to tell our audience in particular? Anybody who's starting off their journey, anybody who's kind of looking for a place where they can find more information, anything?
I'm sure you'll be adding the information
Yeah, for sure.
on your page. My closing thoughts would be your energies are real, your feelings are real, your emotions are real. Everything that you feel on a daily basis is creating an impression in you, physiologically, mentally, spiritually. I cannot say spiritual is different from physiological because whatever you feel physiologically is also creating a ripple effect on your mental and your spiritual self.
Right.
So do not try to disconnect it or do not think that it's a separate entity. It is all interconnected. So everything that you're feeling physiologically is what you're. So everything will start with what you feel emotionally,
Right.
mentally, physiologically, and then spiritually. And so your emotions and your feelings are your go-to. Whatever you're feeling, validate it. Give it a reality, a physical projection.
Right.
Write it or say it.
Journaling would be a good addition. Right?
Yeah. But journal for yourself, not like I don't believe in fancy journaling and
Right. Yeah.
don't believe in a lot of things because I like it to keep it as raw as possible.
Right.
You can use crystals. You can crystals are a wonderful way of aligning yourself and connecting with nature. It's maybe not be possible for you to go for a walk on the beach every second day. Having crystals around you can help you. Having plants around you can help you. So work with the natural energies. We are surrounded by nature is because that is what we are all about.
Right.
And we cannot disconnect with that nature and connect with only the material things which we are constantly creating, and there's abundance of it, and we're neglecting what needs to be in the abundance actually. And that's when the whole sense of lack is coming from.
Right.
So yeah,
Brilliant. Sia Mirchandani, thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
being
much.
a part of the Life Pod. And actually, I would love to have another podcast with you where we delve deeper into, say, understanding crystals, understanding, the workings of the universe, your take deeper into chakra cleansing. And yeah, lots of interesting conversations coming.
yes, I'm
Thank you
looking
so
forward to
much.
it.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
very much for the time.